Hello, today I'll be showing you the correct procedure for safely removing a tree limb using the three-way cut method. So removing a tree limb can be a bit of a hazardous task and can pose a few risks, but if you follow these safety guidelines, these risks can be mitigated. Firstly, we need to decide if we want to remove the limb. It could be that it's impeding a path, blocking sunlight, or aesthetically we may wish to improve the shape and form of the tree. Other reasons could be that the branch is damaged, diseased, or dying, in which case it poses a point of entry for bacteria, fungus, or viral infections, which could damage the tree's health. Secondly, you must decide whether it is safe for you to remove the limb. Is it within your capabilities as an employee? In accordance with the Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974, the employee must follow the duties of the employer, given that the employer has provided a safe working environment and the necessary training to complete the task, which I hope to do with this video. The Safety Hierarchies of Control, developed by OSHA, is a framework that helps us choose the best way of preventing workplace hazards. It follows that the best and most effective method is to eliminate the hazard altogether. In this case, this is not possible as we have decided to remove the limb. The other methods of control in the hierarchy, substitution, engineering controls, and administrative controls, cannot be applied to this task, which leads us to resort to the least effective method, using personal protective equipment, or PPE. The Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations 1998 dictates that your employer must provide suitable equipment that is safe for use and properly demonstrated. For today's work of tree pruning, this entails steel-toe boots, gloves, eye protection, as well as appropriate clothing for the weather conditions. Also important to note is that for the purposes of this video, we will only be dealing with branch at chest height. Anything higher will require us to wear a hard hat. As part of working in a safe environment, we must also perform a risk assessment before undertaking any task. To avoid slips, trips and falls, make sure you have a clear working environment where trip hazards like branches have been removed. Other environmental factors to consider are the weather conditions, and it is advisable to postpone work if it is severely wet or windy, as this can cause the ground to become slippy or branches to sway violently. For the purposes of this video, I will be removing this dead branch from the tree. The area around is covered in daffodils and bluebells coming up, so I'll be mindful where I step to not ruin the vegetation. Since the handsaw we are using is a sharp object, there is the possibility of cuts and abrasions. We'll wear gloves to mitigate this risk, and also be very aware of those around you, especially as they enter any area within your reach, what is also known as a blood bubble. When it comes to lifting branches, it is important you employ a proper manual handling technique. That is, to keep your back straight, use your legs, and avoid twisting or turning. Before you even begin to lift the object, see if you can gauge its weight while on the ground, and if you think it's too heavy, ask for help. Since tree pruning can be quite a dangerous task, avoid working alone when possible. However, if you must work alone, it is crucial you tell your co-workers where you will be and how long you expect to take. Also, make sure you carry your mobile phone on you and be aware of where the first aid kit is located in your workplace. Remember to take regular breaks, as working for an extended period of time can lead to a loss of control, lapses of concentration and missteps. Now that I'm wearing the appropriate PPE, we can inspect our handsaw to make sure that it is in appropriate condition to use, there is no signs of rust, and it is sufficiently sharp. We may then proceed with the three-way cut. Just before I begin, I would also like to consider the weight of the branch, and if it is too large, it may be wise to remove it in stages rather than all at once. This makes cleanup easier, and also for manual handling purposes, the load you're dealing with will be lighter. However, I'm happy that this is a small enough branch and a single three-way cut will be sufficient. The first cut on the branch is made a few inches from the trunk on the underside of the branch, only to about a third of the diameter. Apply a gentle pressure with the saw at a constant angle. The second cut is performed on the top side of the branch, a few inches from where you made the first cut. For the second cut, you will cut all the way through the branch, which will cause it to break where you made the first cut. If you don't make the first cut and cut all the way through, then the bark will rip down the trunk, exposing the cambium layer, which poses a risk to infection and disease. After the second cut has been made, you are left with a remaining stump, which can now be safely removed without worrying about the weight of the branch ripping the bark of the tree. This third cut is made at the branch collar. At the branch collar, stem tissues overlap to form a circular closure of callus growth, which acts as a protective barrier to prevent the entry of harmful disease and infection in the tree. This natural response is known as the compartmentalization of decay in trees, which was developed by plant pathologist Alex Shigo. Now I've talked through the theory of the three-way cut, I'll adjust the camera to show you a close-up of how it's done. The first cut, a few inches from the trunk, to a third of the diameter. The second cut. Unfortunately, this branch doesn't demonstrate the importance of the three-way cut, as it doesn't break to where the first cut is, likely due to it being significantly dead to the point of having no substantial weight or cambium bark to tear. Nevertheless, it's always good practice to perform a three-way cut, as you can't be certain of the branch's condition. The third cut, at the branch collar. I'd like to highlight the amount of sawdust produced and how important wearing eye protection PP is in order to reduce the likelihood of damaging your vision. Now we have performed the three-way cut and the branch has been successfully and safely removed. Thanks for watching. Best of luck.